The art of choking is ever present throughout all of sports, and NFL teams are no exception. There are many ways a team can choke, within a game or within a season, but in general, choking is coming up short of an expectation that was previously considered a certainty. Today, we're going to look at a specific kind of choke. These are the NFL teams during the Super Bowl era with the highest C scores that went one and done in the playoffs. Additionally, these teams need to be at least 5 points higher in C-score than the team they lost to. For those who may not know, C-score is a metric created by this channel to assign an overall value for every single team of the Super Bowl era, a much deeper look beyond just its record. For a deeper explanation, be sure to check out the description of this video. We've got something fun in line with these teams as well. After we reveal the top 16, we're going to place these teams in a tournament to decide the champions of the first ever Choker Bowl. But we'll delve a little deeper into that when we get there. Each team's C-score will be placed in parentheses beside its ranking. Thank you for joining us today. It's time to reveal our field of 16. Coming in at number 16 are the 1987 New Orleans Saints. This was at long last the Saints' first ever winning season and first ever playoff appearance. Despite owning the league's second best record, they also only held their division's second best record, sending them to the wild card round. They got to host that game against the Minnesota Vikings, but got dispatched quickly and swiftly, leaving the franchise still without its first ever playoff victory. At number 15 are the 2015 Cincinnati Bengals. They had won a playoff game before, but it was 25 years gone by. They were champions of the AFC Central and tied for the conference's best record, but they lost out on tiebreakers and were relegated to the third seed. They hosted their division rival Pittsburgh Steelers in the wild card round, and, in a choke within a choke, gave the game away and flushed their promising season down the toilets. Our number 14 seed will be occupied by the 2019 New England Patriots. Facing a bottom 10 strength of schedule for the 5th consecutive season, the Pats got their usual gaudy record, but were only able to snag the AFC's number 3 seed. A 4-4 end to the season leaked into the playoffs, where they hosted the Tennessee Titans. Their 5-2 end to the season also leaked into the playoffs. The Titans shut them out in the second half to put the Patriots out to pasture. They're back already. Tracking back exactly 1 decade brings us to the 2009 New England Patriots. In this season, the Pats did play a highly competitive schedule, winning a slightly more competitive AFC East and landing the 3rd seed. They were matched up with the Baltimore Ravens, and after the first offensive play of the game, they were trailing 7-0. 3 turnovers later, it was 24-0, and the Patriots never could get back into it. We have an interesting entry at number 12 with the 1974 Washington Redskins. 4 NFC teams tied with a 10-4 record. Washington was the best of them by C-score, but not by NFL tiebreakers, and they landed the NFC's only wildcard spot. That put them on the road against the Rams, where their offense mostly no-showed in a 9-point loss. It's a stretch to call this a choke job for sure, but by the terms we've set out, they do qualify. Taking the number 11 spot are the 1995 San Francisco 49ers. A bad loss by 1 point to the Falcons in the season's final game dropped the Niners from the 1 seed to the 2. They still got a bye week in the playoffs though, the first such occurrence we've seen on the countdown. This wasn't enough to hold off the Green Bay Packers though, who went into Candlestick Park and hammered the Niners, despite the final score indicating a much closer game. We have our third and final defending Super Bowl champion on the list at number 10, the 2011 Green Bay Packers. Off the back of that Super Bowl, Green Bay raced out to a 15-1 record that easily could have been 16-0. As the NFC's number 1 seed, they met up with the New York Giants, where their defensive frailties and turnovers cost them. They are not only the first number 1 seed we've run into, they're also the first and only team to lose to the eventual Super Bowl champions. And here we have our next number 1 seed at number 9, the 1979 San Diego Chargers. Always known for their explosive offense, the Chargers had an excellent defense this year as well. They earned the AFC's top seed by beating the Pittsburgh Steelers during the regular season, but a much anticipated rematch in the playoffs never happened. The Chargers welcomed the Oilers to San Diego and were all too welcoming. Turnovers strike again as the Chargers committed 5 of them. Our number 8 seed in the choker bracket will be occupied by the 2007 Indianapolis Colts. Many may expect the 05 Colts here, but this is where playoff opponents matter. Second only to the undefeated Patriots in the AFC, it was widely expected that the two would meet in the AFC Championship game, a rematch of an intense regular season contest. The San Diego Chargers had something to say about that though, going into Indy and taking the W. The 49ers joined the Patriots with a second entry, coming in at number 7 with the 1987 squad. As the Saints fell victim to the Vikings this season, so too did the 49ers, except that San Fran had the league's best record, the NFC's number 1 seed, and were the prohibitive favorite to win it all. Then, Anthony Carter happened. Other stuff happened too, but dude was unstoppable that day, leaving the Niners to wonder how things could have gone so wrong. Our most recent addition to the list, so recent that it just happened last season. At number 6 are the 2024 Detroit Lions. Even though they didn't claim the NFC's number 1 seed until the season's final week, they were the league's best team over the totality of the season. But timing and matchups can mean a lot, and they were on the wrong side of both in their playoff game against the Commanders, where their battered defense was simply overwhelmed. Like the Patriots earlier in this countdown, the Lions now claim back-to-back entries here at number 5 with their 1970 squad. They become our third wildcard team on the countdown, and like the 1974 Redskins, they had to go on the road. Also like the Redskins, their offense was a no-show in their game with the Cowboys, but much more dramatically. The defense gave up 3 points, and the offense gave up 2 in the form of a safety, and they lost 5-0. But 2 years earlier in 1968, the Dallas Cowboys were in a similar boat, taking our number 4 spot. There was no wild card then, but home field in the playoffs was based on a rotational system. So despite being much better and with a better record than the Browns, Dallas was forced to travel to Cleveland for their playoff game. They allowed more points in a game than they had all year and took their first road loss of the season at the worst possible time. Making appearance number 3 at number 3 are the 2010 New England Patriots. They already made this list from just the season before, but this 2010 team was excellent. Dominant all season and armed with the number 1 seed, they faced a familiar opponent in their division rivals, the New York Jets. They took a 3-0 first quarter lead, but never held the lead again, losing out on what seemed to be a surefire championship in the process. Taking the number 2 spot are the 2019 Baltimore Ravens. This team did everything right during the regular season and stormed into the playoffs on a 12-game winning streak. But, fresh off of putting the New England Patriots on this list, the Tennessee Titans were ready to do it again, going into Baltimore and shocking the world, not only by winning, but by doing so comfortably. Number 1 seed, bye week, dominant roster, not good enough. It may be cliche to have the Vikings at number 1, but here they are. This is the 1970 squad, looking to avenge their squandered opportunity in the Super Bowl the year before. They won the Central, they were more than 4 points per game better than anyone in the league defensively, and they didn't fall victim to the playoff rotation, getting to host the 49ers. But, of course, they lost. 1970 becomes the 3rd season to appear on this list twice, but the first in which both teams lost to 2 different opponents. Alright, now we've got our bracket ready and filled out. Home field advantage goes to the higher seed. This is going to be single elimination, no reseeding. This will be somewhat similar to this channel's Imperialism series, and if you're not familiar with that, you really ought to check it out. I hacked the rosters of Tecmo Super Bowl 3 on the Super Nintendo and allow the CPU to simulate the games. The roster hacks are done with player names and attributes foremost on the mind, so players' jersey numbers, skin tones, and listed positions will not always be accurate. Who will win the coveted Choker Bowl, and with it the Reggie Miller commemorative trophy? Let's get on the field and find out. Let's get it all started with our 1 vs 16 matchup. The 1987 New Orleans Saints travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. A 16 has beaten a 1 twice before in the men's NCAA tournament. Can it happen again here? The Vikings have been having trouble with turnovers all game long. This is Dave Waymer's second interception of the first half. He runs it back in for the touchdown. The Vikings defense had been holding, but this time the Saints defense scores themselves. It's 7-0 here, and now in the fourth quarter they still lead 10-7. This pitch will go out to Dave Osborne. He's crossed midfield and he's picking up some good yardage here. He's getting the Vikings into field goal range, but they can win it with a touchdown. From the 6, under 30 seconds to go, Osborne off right end is going to get in for the score. This is the first time in this game the Vikings have taken the lead. It is 14-10, and 14-10 will serve as our final score. Minnesota turned the ball over 6 times, including 4 interceptions by Gary Quazzo. He also lost a fumble. They were -4 in turnover differential, but otherwise dominated the game. Those 2 second half touchdowns were enough. The Vikings will barely scrape by. We're now ready for the 8-9 matchup. The Indianapolis Colts of 2007 will host the 79 Chargers. The winner takes on the Vikings in Minnesota in the next round. Indy holds a substantial 14-point lead in the fourth quarter. The pitch goes out to Joseph Adai. He's able to dodge every tackle attempt and roll into the end zone. The Indy running game wasn't doing much in the first half, but Adai's had himself a nice second half. That was his second touchdown, putting the Colts up 35-14. That's going to be our final score. It was indeed a tighter game. We were tied at the half, but the Colts took over in the second half. Peyton Manning, in the meanwhile, just drops 3 touchdown passes. Next up is the 4 vs 13 battle. The 1968 Cowboys host the 2009 Patriots. Dallas trails in the fourth quarter, but they're on the doorstep to taking the lead. This is a reverse to Bullet Bob Hayes, and he's certainly earned that nickname, using his speed to get into the end zone and give the Cowboys a lead at 21-17. The Patriots are on the move now in Cowboys territory, but they're facing a critical 4th and 18. Tom Brady drops back the pass. He's going to look for Randy Moss, but he overthrows him. They turn the ball over. Dallas will tack on a field goal and win this one 24-17. Dallas wasn't just down when they scored that fourth quarter touchdown. They were down for the entire game. A 17-0 second half shutout powered the victory. It's the most famous spot for an upset in the NCAA tournament. We're getting 5 vs 12 here. The 1970 Lions host the 74 Redskins. Late in the third quarter, Washington leads 17-10. From the Detroit 20, Larry Brown bulldozes his way through the middle, turns on the speed, and gets one last juke in by the goal line, getting himself into the end zone for the touchdown. That will put Washington up 24-10. Detroit scored in the fourth quarter, but to no avail. Washington pulls the 12-5 upset, beating the Lions 24-16. Indeed, Washington held Detroit at arm's length throughout, at no point falling behind or being tied. They now go on the road in the next round to take on the 68 Cowboys. This is a less frequent upset, but it's been known to happen. We've got 2 vs 15 here. The 2019 Ravens will host the 2015 Bengals. Tecmo Super Bowl 3 came out in 1995, so it does not have the Ravens. we've had to place their players into the uniforms of another team. And because they use a 3-4 defense, we chose their arch rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers. That'll keep this something of a divisional matchup. The Ravens have come from behind to take a 17-13 lead, but since he wants to do something about it, Andy Dalton goes deep to Marvin Jones, makes the catch, and is able to get into the end zone for the touchdown. As we enter the fourth quarter, Cincy has retaken the lead at 20-17. Baltimore now has taken it down to the Bengal 11-yard line. 1:43 left in the game. Lamar Jackson wants it all, but Reggie Nelson is there for the interception in the end zone. A big game for Nelson. That'll clinch things up, and we have the massive upset here. A 15 beats a 2. The Bengals win 20-17. Indeed, Cincy had the lead at the half before giving it away, but they tightened up in the fourth quarter, and they're moving on. Because of that last upset, the winner of the 7-10 game knows they're going to host in the next round. The 87 49ers take on the 2011 Packers. Trailing by 8 in the fourth quarter, the 49ers bring out Ray Wersching. This would be his third made field goal of the game. Indeed, it's good. The Niners have cut the lead down to 21-16. They will go for the onside kick here. That seems to surprise the Packers, and the Niners are able to recover. Joe Montana goes to Jerry Rice. What else would you do here? They flail at Superman's cape to no avail. The Niners have now taken the lead. They kick the extra point here. They're up 23-21. Green Bay's driven into field goal range. They're at the 19-yard line. On third down, Aaron Rodgers looks like he wants the end zone. The pass to Greg Jennings is incomplete. So Mason Crosby will come out for the game winner from 37 yards away. The Niners don't put much pressure on him. He is able to put it up and in. And with that, the Packers take this game 24-23. As we mentioned, this game came out in '95 when the two-point conversion was still very new in the NFL. So the AI wasn't quite as versed as to when to use it. That said, the Packers used a strong second and third quarter and were able to hold on to get the victory. We've got a unique situation here in the 3-14 game. The 2010 Patriots will host the 2019 Patriots. Now, two teams can play each other in this game, but they must do so with the same roster. So as we did with the Ravens earlier, we had to place the Patriots of 2019 into a different team's roster. We went with the New York Giants. We're tied 7-7 in the fourth quarter. The 19 Patriots come out for a field goal attempt. From 52 yards away, Nick Folk puts it up and in to give them a 10-7 lead. The 10 Patriots are making a comeback though. 39 seconds left in the game. Tom Brady looks downfield for Wes Welker, makes the leaping catch in field goal range. But as the clock ticks away, they decide, forget the tie, we're going for the win. There's 10 seconds left on the clock from the 13-yard line. Tom Brady waits, throws it downfield to Danny Woodhead. The defense is late to react. Touchdown with zeros left on the clock. The 2010 Patriots avoid the upset against themselves and win this game 14-10. I learned kind of the hard way here that when you try to put numbers into a team's name, it just erases it, which is why that 13-10 graphic had no team name on it. This game played out almost identically to the 1-16 matchup, and just like that one, the higher seed moves on. The 6-11 matchup's going to close out the first round. The 2024 Lions host the 1995 49ers. Both of these franchises have already lost the team, so whoever loses this game is going to be shut out of the second round. Detroit clings to a 1-point lead in the third quarter, but the Niners are deep in their territory. Steve Young goes to Jerry Rice in the end zone. Having him on your team's like having a cheat code. He scores the touchdown to give the Niners a 6-point lead. Now in the fourth quarter, they have Jeff Wilkins out for a 29-yard field goal that would probably put the game away. But Wilkins cannot put it through, giving the Lions a lifeline, and we know they have the offense to move the ball. They're in 49er territory, just over a minute left. Jared Goff has time, goes downfield to Amon-Ra St. Brown, makes the catch, but the Niners take him down. Detroit runs on first, second, third down and can't get in. They try it again on fourth down, and the Niners are wise to them. They never tried to throw the ball, and the Niners win this one on the road, 27-21. Jahmyr Gibbs certainly had himself a game today for the Lions, but they were a little too stubborn, going to him 4 straight times without any kind of deception. The Niners move on. And we too will be moving on to the second round. Let's fill those brackets out. 4 of these games were upsets by seeds. 7 out of 8 were decided by 1 score. The only game that wasn't was the 8-9 game, which by presumption should have been the closest. We have 8 distinct franchises remaining, and one of them is not the Ravens, so every team's getting to play in their own uniforms going forward. After barely surviving their first round matchup, the 1970 Vikings open up the second round by hosting the 2007 Colts. The Vikings are off to a much better start in this game, already up 7-0 in the first quarter. Off the play action, the short pass goes to John Henderson. He uses his agility to get away from some would-be tacklers and runs it into the end zone for the touchdown. That's going to give Minnesota a 14-0 lead, and they did not relent. They go on to easily win this game, 42-13. I was using an older mod right there, so the scoreboard does say Baltimore instead of Indianapolis. That said, the Vikings controlled this from start to finish. A 21-0 lead was more than enough for them to hold on. The 12 beat the 5, can they now beat the 4? The 74 Redskins take to the road to face the 68 Cowboys. Dallas leads 10-7 late in the first half. Mike Clark's going to attempt a 52-yard field goal. Washington put pressure on it, but Clark gets it through and he gets it in to give Dallas the 13-7 lead. Washington would now look to retake the lead on 3rd and 6. Billy Kilmer doesn't want the first down, he wants the touchdown, and he gets it to Charlie Taylor, walling off the defender to make the catch, giving the Redskins a 14-13 lead. We now go to the fourth quarter. The Cowboys are facing 4th and 4. Off the play action fake, Meredith goes to Lance Rensel, makes the catch in triple coverage for the first down. They've moved it even closer now. Clark made it from 52. Can he make from 21? Absolutely no problem. Dallas only scores 1 touchdown in this game, but they get out with the 16-14 victory. This game wasn't much for offense. Charlie Taylor did all the damage for the Redskins, while the Cowboys hit on a couple of long plays to get themselves in field goal range. They're moving on into the semifinals to take on the 1970 Vikings. We got ourselves a 10 versus 15 matchup here. The 2011 Packers will get to host the 2015 Bengals. Aaron Rodgers is deadly on the rollout. Here he finds Jermichael Finley for a touchdown, and here he will once again find Jermichael Finley for a touchdown. A dominant first half by the Packers, including 4 Rodgers touchdown passes, powers a 28-10 lead, and in turn a 35-22 victory. The Bengals were trying to play keep up with the Packers in the first half, but to no avail. Anything they did in the second half just wasn't good enough. The Packers move on. After this one, our Final Four is going to be set. The 2010 New England Patriots host the 1995 San Francisco 49ers. The Pats look to strike first in the first quarter. Tom Brady finds Wes Welker for the touchdown. The Niners get it back here in the third quarter with this touchdown pass to J.J. Stokes. We're now in the fourth on 3rd and inches from the goal line. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis is stopped, and the Pats will kick the very short field goal. It barely goes in, but it goes in for a 10-7 lead. Now with 25 seconds remaining, the Niners are in field goal range. The run to William Floyd gets stuffed, and like the 2010 Patriots in the first round, they're skipping the chance to tie the game to go for the win. 18 seconds remaining, you think they want to go for the end zone, but instead they try Floyd again. The Pats are all over it. Disastrous play calling gives the Patriots a 10-7 win. These Patriots aren't scoring many points, but the only goal is to outscore your opponent, and that's what they've done. With these results in the books, we have now reached the Final Four. The left side of the bracket has 2 old school teams, while the right side has 2 modern teams. Let's get this Final Four on the field. The old school matchup is going to kick things off. The number 1 seed 1970 Vikings play host to the number 4 seed 1968 Cowboys. The Cowboys will look to strike first. They've moved it into Vikings territory. The pitch goes out to fullback Craig Bainham. He drags a tackler, drags another one. A good run down to the 5-yard line. He's still fighting for yardage. Finally goes down. On the next play, he catches the screen pass and finishes what he started. So here in the first quarter, the Cowboys have jumped out to a 7-0 lead. Minnesota's going to be looking to respond. They're in their own territory. Gary Quazzo drops back the pass, tries to dump it off, but it's intercepted by Mike Johnson, breaks the tackle, and takes it all the way back for the touchdown. Turnovers have come back to haunt the Vikings once again. Dallas leads 14-0. Clint Jones looks to do something here with the ensuing kickoff, breaks the tackle, but Mike Gector will force the fumble. The Cowboys pick it up and get a good return down to the 14. That leads to this short touchdown run from Don Perkins. We have yet to leave the first quarter. The Cowboys are all over the Vikings 21-0. They were able to sustain the rest of the game and win 28-14. Minnesota did try to fight back in this one, but they turned it over 2 additional times. With the victory, the 1968 Cowboys advanced to the CHOKER Bowl championship game. Who will their opponent be in that game? We're going to find out right now. The number 3 seed 2010 New England Patriots host the number 10 seed 2011 Green Bay Packers. In the first quarter, the Patriots have 4th and goal at the edge of the end zone. The handoff to Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis will get them the touchdown. They jump out to a 7-0 lead, perhaps finding it easier against this defense than they have against other defenses in this tournament. Green Bay looks to strike back, but they're forced to settle for a field goal. From 31 yards away, Mason Crosby will shank it, giving the Patriots the ball. They've moved it now into Green Bay territory, in the red zone in fact. From the 14-yard line, Tom Brady looks toward the end zone, but this pass is intercepted by his former University of Michigan teammate, Charles Woodson. They've hooked up on another famous play in the past as well. The Packers take that ball and drive it to the Patriots' 6-yard line. On 2nd and goal, Rodgers quick strike to Jermichael Finley. Green Bay touchdown, crisis averted. This game is now tied at 7. New England ends the first half with a field goal. Now in the third quarter, the Packers will be trying another one. Here comes Mason Crosby, but he can't even get it off. The Patriots will block it and recover, maintaining their 10-7 lead. They've now got it again at the edge of the goal line. On 2nd down, they will throw. Mr. Reliable Danny Woodhead makes the catch in coverage for the touchdown. The Patriots have now taken a 10-point lead at 17-7. The Packers are reaching desperation mode, going for it on 4th and 4. Up the middle goes Ryan Grant. He's just able to pick up the first down. Now into fourth quarter, the Packers have a 1st and goal at the 7-yard line. Aaron Rodgers goes to James Jones, finds the window for the touchdown, and they've gotten themselves right back in this game again. It's 17-13 with all the kicking problems they're having. They're going to go for 2 here. The give up the middle goes to Ryan Grant, fights his way through the traffic to now cut the lead to 17-15. The Pats will be looking to score and get a 2-possession game again. Tom Brady's going to find Rob Gronkowski, picks up some good yardage, but Charles Woodson knocks the ball free, his 2nd forced turnover of the game. From this drive, they've moved it to the Patriot 12-yard line. The chance to take the lead here. Aaron Rodgers with the rollout again. So deadly in those situations. He finds Greg Jennings for the touchdown. They have now taken the lead at 21-17. You want to know why they went for 2? Because Mason Crosby misses the extra point. So 21-17 it will remain. Brandon Tate receives the kickoff at the 4-yard line, and it's once again Charles Woodson with the forced fumble, his third takeaway of the game. Rodgers finds James Jones for the touchdown, and the Packers have now screamed into the lead at 28-17. The Patriots pull one back as time expires. The Packers go on the road to win this 28-23. It sure wasn't looking good for them in the first 3 quarters, but Green Bay took control of the game in the fourth to continue on in the tournament. And what does continue on mean? It means a place in the CHOKER Bowl championship game against the 1968 Dallas Cowboys. A 4 versus 10 matchup is certainly rare, but it's not unheard of. Let's get a quick breakdown of this matchup. At the beginning of the Super Bowl era, Cowboys-Packers was the NFL's top rivalry. Dallas could never break through against Lombardi's bunch, but he had left the team in 1968, giving the Cowboys free reign, or so they thought. They still couldn't get through, but now to get through here, they have to play the Packers again, but from the future. Can the 10 seed win it all, or will the Dallas Cowboys get their championship before they ever won a Super Bowl? Let's get on the field and figure this one out. The Packers have methodically moved the ball downfield into the red zone. From the 11-yard line, Aaron Rodgers finds James Jones. That connection has been fired. In fact, Rodgers has been fired with everybody he's throwing the ball to. Green Bay gets out to a 7-0 lead. Dallas is now on the move. They're just inside midfield. Don Meredith drops back the pass. He wants to go deep to Lance Rensel, and he will make the diving catch. Green Bay's moving it methodically. Dallas says, screw that, we're going deep. It's now 3rd and goal from the 12. The reverse is going to go to Bullet Bob Hayes. He makes a move on the defender and gets his way into the end zone. The rushing touchdown from Hayes makes this a 7-7 ball game. Green Bay's offense is once again on the march. They've slowly taken it down to the 11-yard line. On 3rd down, Rodgers is going to look for James Jones again, but this time it's incomplete. They've got to bring out Mason Crosby. He's not had the best of times here. From 29 yards away, the kick's almost blocked, and he almost misses it, but he puts it through, and the Packers lead 10-7. The Cowboys pick things up at their own 40-yard line. Don Meredith has time, wants to go deep again, this time to Bob Hayes, makes the catch, has the speed, and will go straight into the end zone for the touchdown. The Packers have dominated time of possession in this game, but Dallas leads 14-10. Still in the first half, the Packers offense gets right back out there. Maybe they're looking for a deep player of their own. Rodgers goes to James Jones, and that will connect. Green Bay is in Dallas territory. They've now moved it to the 16-yard line. The direct snap on 3rd down goes to James Starks, in for the injured Ryan Grant. He can't quite get the first, so here comes Mason Crosby again. Straightforward field goal from 27 yards away is good. The lead is cut down to 14-13. Craig Bainham receives the ensuing kickoff, and the Cowboys aren't waiting to get their offense on the field to get their next big play. Bainham is going to take this all the way down to the 29-yard line. Dallas has moved it to the Green Bay 11. Don Meredith steps back. Bob Hayes leaks out on the pattern, and Meredith will find him for the touchdown. Both teams have scored 3 times in the first half, but Dallas's were all touchdowns, and they lead 21-13. In the second half now, the Packers have moved into Dallas territory, and Aaron Rodgers decides we got to get Jordy Nelson involved in this game. He makes the catch down to the 12-yard line, and on the next play, Rodgers will go to him again for the score. There's still plenty of time left in the game, so Green Bay kicks the extra point and remain down 21-20. Can Dallas cook up the big plays again? On 3rd and 7, Don Meredith will hang in the pocket, but he's going to hang too long, and Ryan Pickett gets the sack. The Packers feel the momentum in their favor from the Dallas 40. The Cowboys will gamble for the interception, but James Jones makes the catch. That was looking like a for sure pick six, but Green Bay keeps it instead. Now in the fourth quarter from the 7-yard line. This pass to Finley is off target. He makes the catch anyway, but is down short of the goal line. It's fourth down. The Packers are close enough that they're going to skip the field goal and go for the touchdown. Aaron Rodgers stands in the pocket, scans the field, will go again to Finley. They finish what they started on the previous play. Green Bay has jumped back into the lead at 27-21. Dallas has gone stagnant here, but you better believe they're going to stick to their game plan. Meredith goes to Renzel, makes the catch, picks up a lot of yak here. Green Bay chases and finally catches up to him at the 6-yard line. Their first down play gets them even closer. Here from the 1-yard line, they're going to run another reverse to Bob Hayes, and this is the 5th time that Hayes has touched the ball in this game, and he's scored 4 touchdowns from those 5 touches. Dallas now in the lead again at 28-27. The Packers are sticking to their methodical game plan. They will run this pitch out to James Starks. He picks up the first down. Now from the 38-yard line, their own 38. Rodgers is going to look to throw. He's going for Jordy Nelson. He makes the catch. They're at the edge of field goal range. They've moved it up to the 26 on 3rd down. They run Starks again, but Dallas swallows it whole, and Mason Crosby now has a chance to complete his redemption arc with a 48-yard field goal. 1 minute remains on the clock. He puts it up and he splits the uprights. The Packers now lead 30-28. There's still time left, and we've seen Cowboy kicker Mike Clark make some game winners. Craig Bainham will take this kickoff at the 10-yard line. He's had a good day returning kicks, and that looks to continue. He's taken down at the 40-yard line. They probably need about 25 yards for field goal range. Meredith fires the slant to Renzel, catches it at the 40. He's taking off. He gets away from a tackler and sprints away from everybody else, and he will score the touchdown. What a strike from the Cowboys. They have retaken the lead at 35-30, and with that incredible ending, they will win this game by that same score, 35-30. What an ending to this game, but the story was really written here in the first half when the Packers were moving the ball methodically and settling for field goals, while Dallas was firing on all cylinders and getting touchdowns. The Packers were able to shift that somewhat in the second half, but that fourth quarter and the back and forth that it included essentially took away all ideas of strategy and just turned it into execution. Dallas scored 5 times in this game, Green Bay scored 6 times, but Dallas wins it on the scoreboard because they kept getting it in the end zone. As the number 4 seed, the 1968 Dallas Cowboys fought through the Choker Bowl playoffs to win the championship. With that win, they received the Reggie Miller commemorative trophy, and by not choking this time, they received redemption. But the real-life team still went 1-0 in the playoffs against a team whose C-score was more than 16 points lower than theirs. Thank you for watching all the way through the end of the video. Kinda mixed up a couple of concepts here, which I hope was to your liking. If so, please give the video a like, share it around, subscribe to the channel, and ding that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Let me know what you think about all of this. Was there a team you expected to make the top 16 that didn't? Was there a team in the bracket you didn't think belonged? How did you feel about the presentation of this video and the potential to do something like this again in the future? Sound off on these topics or anything else you may have on your mind down in the comments section below. Thank you so much once again for joining us today. I did have a blast making this one. And until next time, I hope you have an awesome day.